Here's a look at today's headlines across Houston. Hello, I'm Len Cannon. It's been nearly a week since Lorenzo Salgado, a Mexican national, was shot and killed by an ICE officer in Houston's East End. The Department of Homeland Security's Office of Inspector General is investigating the shooting, but there are few details about the moments leading up to Salgado's death. Orko Manna talks to a woman in the neighborhood who says she's heard the shooting.
I don't know what happened.
Juanita Murphy says she was in the kitchen inside her home on Canal Street last Tuesday morning when she heard something unusual.
What exactly did you hear?
I thought it was a firecracker. That's what I heard. The dogs were all nervous and barking. So I came out here to see what was going on.
She filmed what appeared to be a group of ICE agents in front of her home. Murphy lives just down the street from where DHS says an ICE officer shot and killed Lorenzo Salgado that same morning.
It's sad that something like this happened, that somebody takes off in the morning to go to work and they wind up dying in the sidewalk like that, right here.
Videos like the ones Juanita took are the kinds of evidence Harris County District Attorney Sean Teare is looking for as his office conducts its own independent investigation into the shooting. DHS claims Salgado tried to run over ICE officers, but so far, no evidence has emerged to substantiate that. Teare says his search for the truth is proving to be difficult.
Have you had any contact whatsoever with ICE or DHS on this?
We have been in contact with the local HSI, ICE, special agents in charge. I spoke to her yesterday. She let me know that they are not running this investigation, the local side of it. We had a very fine conversation, but it wasn't substantive in any way.
And Teare says he's trying to get access to several key pieces of evidence.
Is there a point where you would take legal action to get access?
At some point, it becomes a place where we stop asking and we start asking district court judges in state court and federal court to grant us access.
But time is ticking, with Teare saying his investigators will soon need to go back to their regular duties. That's why Harris County Commissioner Rodney Ellis is stepping in.
I will bring an item before Commissioners Court to fund this independent investigation and ensure that our DA's office has all of the necessary resources to thoroughly pursue every lead and preserve every fact.
It's unclear how much money would be involved. Ellis's team is going through the budget process now, but it could be a couple weeks to a month before anything is decided.
Whatever it costs within reason, it's important enough for us to do it.
That was Orko Manna reporting. A Houston City Councilman wants to hold off on letting new gas stations open near residential properties. Councilmember Ed Pollard sent a letter to Mayor John Whitmire citing safety concerns from community groups. Troy Kless spoke with him and residents.
Depending what side of town you're in,
people might jump in my vehicle or might steal my vehicle.
Kiana Wilson says she keeps her head on a swivel.
You have a lot of people lurking around, and for what? So I can see that safety issues happening.
I mean, there's always crazy things happening at gas stations. A lot of commotion going by.
Those are some of the reasons why Councilmember Edward Pollard made a request for the city to put a 90-day moratorium on new applications for building gas stations with pumps within 200 feet of a residential property line.
Some of the public safety concerns, some of the quality of life concerns. We understand that gas stations are an essential business for our daily routine, but they also have some unintended consequences of having so many in a concentrated area.
I'm here near the intersection of Harwin and Fondren in the Sharpstown area, where this apartment complex sits right next to a gas station, and it's not the only one at this corner. This would not impact construction applications that are already approved. Pollard's hope is for more diversity in the kinds of businesses that become a part of the community.
We don't have much flexibility because of zoning laws. However, I think we can be creative in the way in which we explore our options on this.
But residents are putting themselves in the shoes of someone looking to start a business.
I think I would feel some type of way, because then that's causing me not to make money myself.
But too much gas in one area, a potential con of convenience stores.
You got one there, one there, one there, and one here. Like, what's the point of having 4 gas stations on each corner of the block? Like, that's stupid.
Mayor Whitmire didn't respond to Pollard's request during Wednesday's meeting, but it's a goal that Pollard is pursuing with all gas and no brakes. In Southwest Houston, Troy Kless, KHOU 11 News.
This next story for all the collectors out there. Sports cards have long been part of being a fan. Collectors live for the thrill of ripping open a pack to find a rare card. But Zach Tawatari talks to an artist redefining the chase for something special.
Parallels, refractors, numbered cards, collectors are always chasing the next big hit. But one Houston area artist is proving that the rarest pull might not come from the rip of a pack, but the tip of a pen.
For most artists, the perfect starting point is a blank canvas.
Saturated in color.
For Luke Weaverling,
heavy line work.
It's a few square inches.
Kinda can't take your eyes off it.
Of printed cardboard.
I love that one, how that turned out.
Better known as a sports card.
I always say I'm an art nerd that's a sports junkie.
Luke, who goes by the Cardist, is just that. An artist who transforms ordinary cards.
There's a lot that are printed and they kind of just sit around.
Into one-of-a-kind collectibles.
The one of one, which in sports cards is a big deal. It means there's only one of these.
Weaverling has always been an artist.
I worked for Trader Joe's. I worked for different businesses doing work for them.
But his path to becoming a creator started, like most people in the hobby,
endless.
As a collector.
A black hole of things to know.
Then a Jordan Love rookie card.
I saw it online and I thought, this thing looks so cool.
Turned out to be something else entirely.
Didn't take me long to realize someone has embellished this or done something to this card to make it look different. It was a piece of art.
Some cards change hands.
That person that I don't think they understand the impact they had on me.
This one changed his life.
I said, you know what? This is something that not only I can do, but this would be fun.
Luke's first subject?
I like DK Metcalf. I picked up his card and started painting on it. Threw it up on eBay. It started at 99 cents, I believe. I just put it up as an auction and ended up selling for $300. And from that point, the wheels started turning.
But turning cardboard...
I took a card that other people would look at as valueless.
...into cash was one thing.
$300, $200, $100 even.
Building a brand and a business that could support his growing family became the real chase.
Do my art on this and turn it into money. This is right where everything meets.
Luke was then a traveling project manager by day.
Motel 6s, Super 8s, and Sioux Falls, and all these places.
Who carried his dream with him.
I brought my board, all my paints, I'd bring cards.
Late nights and card shows and an unparalleled work ethic.
And I would sit at these little desks in the hotel room and I would paint and I would work on these cards.
Resulted in Luke, as collectors say, hitting the grail, a partnership with Fanatics, the biggest name in the industry.
If you would have told me at the beginning, like, what's the end goal? Fanatics is the top dog, everything that you'd hope to work for in a company.
Today, Luke's work can be seen across the world of collectibles.
That's the card.
Including a hockey and wrestling deal with Upper Deck.
Each one gets better and different. And it evolves.
His pieces even finding their way into the personal collections of his beloved Texans.
Whenever any of these end up in the hands of the subject, of the athlete themselves, I think that's like as cool as it gets.
And while every collector is chasing the next pristine hit, Luke Weaverling is proving that the biggest prize comes from leaving your own mark.
It's just living the dream.
In Conroe, Zach Tawatari, KHOU 11 News.
That's what you call a creative and rewarding side hustle. Very cool. That's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Len Cannon.
I'm Chris Lawrence with your top stories in North Texas. A video is going viral showing Fort Worth police officers citing a protester at Trinity Pride. As the Justice Department looks into it, Scoop Jefferson spoke with the head of the Fort Worth PD.
If someone is offended by your talking, then we have a problem.
I sat down with Fort Worth Police Chief Eddie Garcia to ask about this and the backlash his department faces over bias concerns and First Amendment rights.
The biggest issue I think that I have is just the conversations and the way that we were describing what is lawful, what isn't lawful.
In the video, now viral, veteran officer Sarah Stockner threatened to write tickets to street preacher David Grisham protesting outside Pride Fest.
Wait, you're going to take us for offensive speech?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you serious?
Speech.
You're going to cite us for
Yes, it's called disorderly conduct.
No, disorderly.
When we're right, we're right, and when we're wrong, we're wrong. And there certainly was a better way to have that communication, and we were wrong in the manner in which we communicated that. Certainly, we're going to take accountability for it.
And here's what Garcia says accountability looks like. First Amendment rights training is now underway across the department.
Trained up our command staff again with refresher courses. We're going to be training our sergeants. We're going to be training our officers.
So they've already violated their rights.
Civil rights attorney C.J. Grisham, who shares the same last name, says a different officer issued the street preacher a citation for misuse of a bullhorn outside of protests, according to police.
It doesn't meet the noise ordinance violations ordinance in any way whatsoever. So just on its face, the charge is baseless.
Grisham says he has First Amendment violations cases like this involving police all across Texas and claims it's not the first for Fort Worth PD.
We've got her on video doing this last year at the Pride Festival. So this is a pattern of abuse by Officer Stogner, but it's not just her. Look how many other officers were standing around.
The First Amendment training for officers will be in person. And when I asked about implicit bias training for his department,
There may be other types of training that will be beneficial.
while owning the mistake by his officer, Garcia hopes it doesn't overshadow what the entire department does every day.
We are not a perfect profession, and my officers will make mistakes from time to time.
In Fort Worth, I'm Scoop Jefferson.
A teenage boy's body was found floating in Lake Ray Hubbard, and as Luke Clary reports, his family wants murder charges filed against two people arrested in connection with his death.
My son was an amazing son.
A grieving mother still searching for answers 3 months after her 18-year-old son, Daniel Irving, drowned in Lake Ray Hubbard.
This wasn't supposed to happen.
Dallas police have arrested two teens, a 16-year-old and 19-year-old Lucas Roper. They're not accused of causing Daniel's death, but of tampering with physical evidence. Investigators say this is the last place where Daniel Irving was seen alive. It's believed that he jumped off of that railroad bridge with those two other teens. The Dallas County Medical Examiner determined Daniel drowned and ruled his death an accident. But police say the two teens failed to report what happened and later discarded items belonging to Daniel. The affidavit alleges Daniel's clothes were thrown into a tree line, his cell phone was thrown into a ditch, and Roper deleted his communications with Daniel. Roper told detectives he panicked after Daniel drowned.
This is a difficult time for this family.
The Irving family attorney says they believe the evidence supports a murder charge.
Follow the facts and bring the appropriate charges, including but not limited to murder.
But attorney Jeremy Rosenthal, who is not involved in the case, says that would require proof of more than alleged cover-up.
To have a homicide case here, you would have to show that they caused the death of this individual, not just that there was a cover-up, not that there just was a guilty conscience after the fact.
For now, the criminal case centers on what police say happened after Daniel drowned.
I want justice for my son.
His mother says these arrests have not ended her fight for answers.
I want justice for Daniel.
In Dallas, I'm Luke Clary.
We just got an update on the cyclospora outbreak hitting half the states in the U.S. Dallas County health officials have 9 confirmed cases so far, and the Texas Department of Health says there are 68 statewide with 15 patients hospitalized. Slightly higher than expected, but officials say not a drastic increase. The parasite is linked to produce and causes vomiting and diarrhea, so be sure to thoroughly wash any fruits and vegetables. The organizing team that brought the World Cup to North Texas is calling it a big win. And as Mitty Hicks reports, they're using the excitement as a springboard to the next big thing.
So North Texas welcomed hundreds of thousands of fans from all over the world for FIFA World Cup matches. And when talking to organizers about what made the event here in North Texas successful, they say security, transportation, but that's not all.
Organizers say it's also been the partnerships across the Metroplex, which has allowed North Texas to host 9 games and countless fan events over the last month without any major transportation or safety incidents. Organizers say this collaboration across cities, law enforcement agencies, along with fire and rescue, and even the FIFA volunteers, is the competitive advantage that puts North Texas on the map to host big sporting events. Speaking of, As North Texas closes out with one last game Tuesday, organizers say they're already planning the next big thing.
And by all means, please know that our work is not done here, but our vision is also towards 2031 and hopefully being able to host the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2031.
When it comes to FIFA 2031, of course, for women's soccer, organizers say they're not sure if the U.S. will even have events until the end of the year. Now, will Dallas become a host city? Organizers say we probably won't know that information until early next year. In Dallas, I'm Mitty Hicks.
We're all paying more to raise our dogs right now. The American Kennel Club says owners are spending about $2,500 a year on food, vet visits, and other needs. As Brittany Costello reports, an organization that rescues pugs is feeling that financial squeeze.
15 minutes for Lisa Williams. Come on, babies. Pugs are special.
It's not a pug for everyone, but for us it is.
It's why she decided to foster for DFW Pug Rescue last year.
People always show up for us.
Communications volunteer Jenna Bradford says they need many more like her.
We're begging fosters to take pugs. We're begging for new fosters, and some fosters have doubled up, tripled up.
In a post on Facebook Sunday, the organization announced its closed intake, saying it can't take on any more pugs. They've seen a surge in surrenders from 400 last year to 700 so far this year, many with high medical needs. Founder Fred Campos says the group is drowning in vet bills.
But we have never failed in 30 years to pay our vet bills. However, this last year and a half, our vet bills have gotten so high that we can't keep up with them.
Care that normally costs $25,000 a month has gone up to more than $60,000 last month.
The reason we're seeing a lot of pugs is because the economy, a lot of people can't afford their animals.
Now, they can't either.
We're just asking for help.
They need donations to help with the bills, corporate sponsorships to keep the money coming in, and folks who are willing to adopt pugs waiting.
It's your time to shine, girl.
They desperately need more people like Williams.
Look at you, handsome boy.
Fosters and volunteers who will love on their pugs until they find forever homes.
They're just a great companion if you're work from home, if you have kids. They're just a flexible, happy, easy dog to have in the home.
In Tarrant County, I'm Brittany Costello.
Yeah, let's hope that they can all find a happy and loving home. Those are your headlines from North Texas.
Well, good afternoon at Texas. You know, today we're going to continue to see widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. This is a very unsettled pattern that we've been in. We had plenty of moisture coming in out of the Gulf of Mexico, and that's going to continue for the next couple of days. So even for tomorrow, we're expecting more rain and storms. Now, not the entire state will see the rain and storms, but many of us will. We have better chances of seeing rain than not. But on Thursday, still expecting some more storms, but the coverage may be a little bit lower towards the end of the week. So breaking it down city by city here for you later today in Amarillo, no rain this afternoon, and that's going to allow that temperature to make it to about 90 degrees. But we are expecting a little bit more cloud cover by tomorrow, so temperatures dropping a couple of degrees. Still looks like we could be dry on Thursday, but adding additional cloud cover even on that day, so dropping to 87. Austin, different story. Today we've got widely scattered showers and thunderstorms, so temperatures only make it into the mid-80s this afternoon. Still keeping that chance of rain going tomorrow. Temperatures in the upper 80s, and it looks like by Thursday, still a chance of rain and storms, but the coverage should be a little bit lower, so temperatures may be going up just a few degrees. Across North Texas, DFW later today, temperatures in the upper 80s, widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. The coverage is only going to be at about 30% though. We're going to keep it at 30% on your Wednesday with a high of about 90 and making it up to 91 degrees on Thursday as the coverage may be just a little bit lower. Now in Houston this afternoon, rain and storms, certainly warm and muggy with temperatures in the upper 80s. By tomorrow, the coverage may be just a little bit lower, so temperatures go up some. Looking at a high of about 90 degrees tomorrow afternoon and low 90s expected on Thursday. Around Waco, temperatures in the low 80s today with showers and thunderstorms, but by tomorrow, the rain will temporarily move out. We keep the clouds around, so temperatures will go up some. Looking at a high of about only 84. It looks like the rain and storms could could be coming back on Thursday, but temperatures are still able to go up by a few degrees. So looking at that timecast, I'm starting it at noon today. You can see just how widely scattered the showers and thunderstorms are. By later this evening, that coverage does get a little bit lower, just kind of over central parts of Texas, but lots of clouds and plenty of humidity off to the south and east. By Wednesday morning, it looks like the intensity of the rain does come back up for parts of southern and central Texas. And then later Wednesday afternoon and evening, it becomes a little bit more widespread. But notice out in the Panhandle, it still looks pretty dry, so we are keeping Amarillo dry for the next few days at least. By Thursday morning, the rain is mainly in western parts of Texas. The rest of us are still going to be under mostly cloudy skies, and there's still going to be some humidity. But by late Thursday afternoon and evening, the rain chances do come back for parts of southern and northern parts of Texas. By Friday morning, we finally start to dry out for most of us, the exception being far west Texas. There could still be some rain there, but by Friday afternoon and evening, there's going to be a very low coverage of rain and storms across the state. As we get into your Saturday morning, it looks like north and eastern Texas will be dry. We're going to start out with lots of sun while we're actually going to see more rain in the western part of the state. By Saturday afternoon and evening, we could be working in more sunshine, but the western part of Texas still looking at that chance of rain. So plenty of rain chances in the forecast for really much of Texas over the next several days. Tonight, it looks like most of us will be dropping down into the 60s and 70s, low 70s at DFW, about 75 degrees in Houston, upper 60s in Amarillo, about 64 overnight tonight in Midland. Tomorrow afternoon, it looks warm, but not terribly hot. It's still going to be plenty humid, though, especially around Houston. Looking to high of about 85 degrees tomorrow, 90 at DFW, 81 in Abilene, and 88 tomorrow afternoon in Lubbock. Breaking it down region by region for the next few days, so all the way through Friday. Tomorrow afternoon, we're expecting lots of sun around El Paso, the high of about 94 degrees. Now, by Thursday, we add a little bit more cloud cover, so temperatures come down a couple of degrees, and really not expecting a whole lot of change on Friday. We're going to be partly cloudy with highs in the low 90s. In Midland, though, the chance of rain and storms is going to be with us tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, and temperatures just kind of hold steady in the mid-80s. Around central Texas, looking at Austin specifically, the chance of rain and storms, we're keeping it Wednesday and Thursday, drying out for Friday, and that means temperatures go up by the end of the week. Highs in the low 90s do return. Fredericksburg, highs in the upper 70s this afternoon tomorrow afternoon with the chance of rain and storms, but by Thursday we actually make it to about 80 degrees with mid-80s expected on Friday, and the chance of rain just kind of lingers. South Texas, plenty warm and plenty humid. Around Laredo, Texas, we're expecting mostly cloudy skies tomorrow afternoon. Highs in the low 90s. I don't have any rain chances on Thursday. Temperatures make it into the upper 90s. And by Friday, we keep the clouds around, but we still make it to around 100 degrees. North Texas, we've got the chance of rain and storms Wednesday and Thursday, but we do dry out on Friday, so temperatures go up by a degree or two in any one spot. Around East Texas, we're going to have that chance of rain and storms around today. It looks like tomorrow it moves way out to the west, and on Friday we start to work in more sunshine, so temperatures climb back into the low to mid 90s. And then finally looking around the valley, McAllen, 99 tomorrow afternoon. We stay at 99 on Thursday. Looks pretty windy by Friday, making it to around 100 degrees, and around Brownsville, 96 tomorrow afternoon and Thursday with a little bit more cloud cover by Friday, but temperatures stay in the upper 90s.
I'm Isis Romero, and this is the news in San Antonio. Neighbors say a man they now know as the water burglar was caught on surveillance cameras coming into a Beacon Hill yard at 2 in the morning, turning on a faucet and then walking away. Nobody would discover the water waste until 5 hours later. Sue Kalberg picks up the story of neighbors who say they're fed up.
We're in stage 3 water restrictions now. That means landscape watering is only allowed once a week on a designated day. So what happens if somebody comes into your yard and turns on the water full blast?
So this guy just runs up and down the street seeing what he could steal.
That's what neighbors say happened in Beacon Hill early Sunday morning, and it was caught on camera.
He sees the guy's water faucet and thinks, hey, I'm going to mess with them, and
A man wearing a reflective vest can be seen walking into this yard.
goes over and turns the guy's faucet on full blast.
Neighbors say the man lives nearby and is well known to police with an extensive history of arrests.
Discharging a firearm, aggravated robbery with assault and injury to a family member.
They have amassed 4 full pages of allegations, many with video evidence.
He's just a terrorizer.
This time, there's an SAPD case for criminal mischief. If the man is convicted, the penalty ranges up to 180 days in jail and up to a $2,000 fine, but he hasn't been charged yet. So, we're not naming him. There are surveillance cameras and warning signs all over this block, the neighbors say, because this guy won't quit. Neither will they. They say justice will be served. In Beacon Hill, Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
Former San Antonio police officer James Brennan will not go to trial next week after prosecutors dismissed the criminal case against him. Brennan was charged with aggravated assault by a public servant in the 2022 shooting of then 17-year-old Eric Cantu outside a Northside McDonald's. The Bexar County District Attorney's Office says it recently received new information involving Cantu that requires further investigation. When a judge denied the state's request to delay the trial, prosecutors moved to dismiss the case. The district attorney's office says the dismissal is without prejudice, meaning charges could be refiled if the investigation supports it moving forward. 59-year-old Robert Hyson is facing the fight of his life. Hyson served as a longtime police officer, but recent health scares have made things difficult for his family. As Zach Briggs explains, fellow officers are making sure his family has the help they need.
You go from sharing life, sharing stories every day to not being able to talk to him, not being able to have a conversation.
He's Officer Robert Hyson, badge number 417.
Officer Hyson is the epitome of a police officer.
Hyson will mark 25 years on the force here at SAPD this November. He's a husband, father, and Air Force veteran.
He's a great family man. He respects others. He loves the community. He loves working for the community.
Patrolman Andres Salazar knows him well.
He's a good, dear friend of mine. We worked together for up to 15, 16 years now.
Hyson's health scares go back to February.
He was at home. He was playing video games, and he said he couldn't feel his left hand, and it worried him.
He had suffered a stroke.
He called his wife, and she rushed over, and they rushed him to the emergency room. While at the hospital, he suffered a major stroke. They said that he was lucky that he was there, because if it was happened anywhere else, he'd probably not have made it.
In the middle of healing and rehab, Officer Patrick Chavez recalls hanging with Hyson at a barbecue.
He sat next to me, and even though he couldn't maybe verbalize what he was saying due to the stroke, we were still kind of taking jabs at each other, laughing and joking around.
Hyson also survived a heart attack. Now, as he continues recovering, fellow officers and the community are rallying behind his family. So far, the GoFundMe campaign has raised more than $10,000.
It was nice to see just the camaraderie.
We're hoping for a miracle. We're hoping to have our brother back.
Hope for Hyson. Zach Briggs, KENS 5.
More rain in the forecast means more mosquitoes. Metro Health is working to keep our public areas pest-free. Earl Stoudemire has the latest on their efforts.
Metro Health staff members say they usually see an increase in service calls 5 to 7 days after a rain event. Its staff says mosquito season in San Antonio runs from March to October. On average, they get between 10 to 20 calls a day in certain parts of the city. Their hotspots are drainage channels, greenways, and parks. When Metro Health isn't putting out larvicide, they're testing mosquitoes for West Nile and the Zika virus. Every week, Metro Health moves 20 traps across the city to catch mosquitoes. So far, they've only reported 2 cases of mosquitoes having West Nile this year. When this happens in the neighborhood, additional work is done to protect the community.
Whenever we get a West Nile virus positive test, we're going to fog that area. We're going to give at least prior notification to the public that live in that area, as well as the city council district where that area resides in. And usually fogging takes place between 2:30 to 3:30 in the morning.
The first case of West Nile was reported in the Hillcrest neighborhood in May, and the latest one was last month on New Laredo Highway. To do your part, Metro Health says to throw out any standing water in your yard. You can also protect yourself with bug spray and wearing long sleeves if you have to go outside. If you notice an area needing work, call 311. For all of this information, click on this story online at KENS5.com. Earl Stedemeyer, KENS 5.
And that's the news in San Antonio.
Hi there, I'm Leslie Adamy in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening here in South Texas. A state hearing is now underway in a legal fight over Corpus Christi's industrial water rates. The city is defending its rate hike after some of its largest customers filed protest seeking an estimated $60 to $80 million in refunds. Our Natalia Osuna has more from day one of the hearing out of Austin.
A multi-million-dollar water rate dispute is putting the city of Corpus Christi and some of its biggest customers at odds.
PUC can only consider evidence that was available to the city council at the time.
Now it's playing out before the state office of administrative hearings.
For at least a decade, at least, if not more, the city of Corpus Christi has been subsidizing these large water users.
Councilwoman Sylvia Campos says the rate changes had been a long time coming.
Large water volume users have continued to fight us every single time, every step of the way. They always say that they are good partners, but actions speak louder than words.
Meanwhile, Councilman Roland Barrera says he expected that pushback from large volume users.
This idea that they weren't, the residents were subsidizing their water. I don't see that as a viable argument or to get at this rate equity.
During the hearing, an industry group called Affordable Water for Corpus Christi.
2024, a 102% increase in rates to outside city limit customers.
Representing Valero, Citgo, and Lyondell Basell.
A significant amount of concern about the annual rate increases that have been taking place.
And the result of the hearing could impact 2027's water rates.
The only challenge is whatever we pay in this time around, if whatever it is that we would have to adjust to return in payment, then that would affect us on our new rates.
If the city loses, residential and commercial ratepayers will have to pay that money back, all while the city works to get funding for new water projects.
It's so important to our water rate users. It is about millions and millions of dollars.
A legal battle that we will continue to follow. Meantime, back here along the city's bayfront, it is something that we here in Corpus Christi are so very proud of. For years, people have arrived in droves from all over to see the statue of Selena Quintanilla. Now, another hometown hero is one step closer to taking residence there. A date has been set for the pivotal vote to bring a life-size statue of Farrah Fawcett to the bayfront. This vote is on the books for July 28th at Corpus Christi City Council. Fawcett rose to fame in the 70s as Jill Monroe in Charlie's Angels. But before that, she was simply Farrah. Corpus Christi Ray High School's class of 65's repeat winner of Most Beautiful.
Her classmates from Ray High School have gotten together and really kind of spearheaded the idea. And we're just so excited to offer something to our Corpus Christians from a Corpus Christian. So just excited to work with this group and continue our momentum.
A special movement, years in the making, not only a commemoration, but also a full circle homecoming. In case you didn't know, outside of her work as a model and actress, Farrah Fawcett was a sculptor herself and even majored in art at the University of Texas. And that's a quick look at some of what's happening here in South Texas.
I'm Adrian Carbajal. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. A chance encounter, a 3-minute conversation, and a decision that may have saved one man's life. After being diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, a Central Texas man is hoping to find the stranger he believes was sent to warn him while encouraging other men not to put off getting checked out. Our Juliana Jackson has his story.
Used a total stranger, and really, we're trying to figure out who that guy is.
So if anybody down in Belton, Temple, maybe even Carper's Cove.
For Lee Ray, the most important conversations are the ones you never expect.
I was going to see if I could borrow that cart, but before I do that, can I share my testimony with you? And he was like, awesome. And he goes, I want to share my testimony with you too.
Back in April, Lee was at the Texas Communications Expo at the Bell County Expo Center. The stranger Lee met shared how he survived colon cancer.
He asked me, he goes, well, have you had a colonoscopy? And I said, no, I haven't. I came home that day and I told my wife, I said, hey, I believe God used a man today to tell me, like, I need to go get a colonoscopy.
At 47 years old, Lee scheduled his first colonoscopy. Doctors discovered a cancerous mass, removed 6 polyps, and later diagnosed him with stage 4 colon cancer.
By that guy sharing his testimony with me, it's allowed us to have the opportunity to fight. And we're so thankful for that.
Lee is asking for the public's help to find the man he calls his guardian angel. He believes the man may have been working at the Bell County Expo Center during the first week of April and hopes to thank him face to face. Lee describes him as a black man around 55 years old, average height with a small mustache, wearing a cap. But he says this story isn't just about finding one person. It's about making sure others don't make the same mistake and get checked.
Go to the doctor, figure out what needs to happen, get checks done.
As he continues his treatment, Ray says there's one person he hopes to meet again.
Thank you so much for being so bold and so obedient to share your testimony.
Lee says whether or not he finds the man, he hopes his story inspires other people to get checked early because one conversation and one screening could save a life. In other news, a piece of Central Texas history is now etched in stone. A new memorial in Faulks County honors hundreds of freedmen who made the journey to Texas after emancipation. The memorial honors 435 newly freed men, women, and children who traveled from South Carolina to Faulks County in 1867. Now, more than a century and a half later, their descendants stood together as the names of their ancestors were unveiled in stone.
To be honest, we had been researching and we thought maybe 30 or 40 freedmen came at one time. We had no earthly idea when we saw the document that there were 435.
We're putting our family back together again. So, Marlin community, it would be up to you to encourage your family to know these names.
Organizers say the memorial serves as a lasting reminder of the courage, sacrifice, and resilience of those who helped shape the history of Central Texas. And those are your headlines from Central Texas.
Hello from Austin, I'm Mark Mullins. San Marcos fire investigators are reopening the investigation into a deadly 2018 apartment fire. They've launched a new tip line nearly 8 years after 5 people died at the iconic Village Apartments in San Marcos. That fire killed James Philip Miranda, Drew Estes, Belinda Moats, David Ortiz, and Haley Frizzell. And while a suspect was arrested in 2023, a grand jury declined to indict him last year due to insufficient evidence. Investigators believe someone out there holds the key to solving this crime. Fire Marshal Jonathan Henderson urges anyone with information, even small details that may seem insignificant, to come forward. Callers can reach the new tip line at the number you see at the bottom of your screen. That number is 512-393-7388. Many people in Georgetown woke up without internet Monday morning after police say someone deliberately damaged $100,000 worth of fiber line. Georgetown police tell us the damage happened near I-35 and North Austin Avenue, cutting service for about 20,000 Optimum customers. Optimum says criminals targeted its fiber optic network, but unlike copper cables, fiber has no scrap value and is extremely time-consuming to repair. Detectives are now looking at surveillance video to identify suspects. The Austin City Manager is preparing to present his yearly budget to council this week. KVU's Jose Alonso gives us the main takeaways of what the city is focused on in the year ahead.
The voters have told us they want us to go back to basics.
That's what Mayor Kirk Watson said last November in response to a failed tax rate election. Now, City Manager T.C. Broadnax is laying out Austin's $6.6 billion spending plan for the next fiscal year, attempting to deal with a projected $26 million shortfall as the city continues to grow.
I'm an elder, but I've still noticed it's growing like crazy.
The city manager says the proposed 3.5% property tax rate increase will raise about $82 million more than last year's budget. Under state law, that 3.5% is the most the city can raise taxes without calling an election. Austin voters rejected a higher increase last year when Prop Q failed.
I can't remember how I voted, but I think initially I was against it, simply because, again, I just needed to see the numbers and where it's coming from.
The city manager says keeping the increase at that 3.5% creates a challenge, but about $18 million of tax revenue will come from new properties built this year. And even with that lower proposed tax rate increase, some Austinites say they're already feeling the effects of higher costs across the board.
I've been a homeowner since 2018. I've been paying my property taxes every year, and it just becomes a little bit more difficult each and every year where there's an increase in property tax.
According to this proposal, 65% of the budget focuses on general funds and citywide utilities. Together, Austin Energy and Austin Water would get 43% of the $6.6 billion. When it comes to general funds, the city manager wants to meet an increased demand for public services like public parks.
Why is park and recreation so important for a resident like yourself?
Because I don't have a pool in my backyard, and neither do all the little poor kids who get real hot too.
Police, fire, and emergency medical services will take the majority of the general funds. The budget sets aside $504,000 in funding just for APD's recruiting efforts.
I personally haven't had a need for the police presence in my area or anything like that, but there's, just hearing statements about what's going on around the city, I do believe there's a need for that.
They take up a disproportionate amount of the budget, I think, but anything that serves the people, I'm all for it. I'll pay my share.
And that was Jose Alonso reporting. The city manager will present this budget proposal to council on Thursday, July 16th, and the city will host community feedback and multiple work sessions before officially voting on this proposed budget by mid-August. Governor Greg Abbott is awarding $5.5 million in grant money to try and boost the number of primary care doctors in Texas, especially in rural areas. 3 major medical groups will get the money to fund hands-on training for medical students in family medicine, pediatrics, and internal medicine. The Texas Pediatric Society, the Texas chapter of the American College of Physicians, and the Texas Academy of Family Physicians are getting the funds through the state's preceptorship program. The goal is to get future doctors working alongside experienced physicians early on, encouraging them to practice in underserved communities. The state program was created in 1978 to help address the shortage of family doctors by giving students real-world experience in places outside their usual medical school hubs. State leaders say this mentorship is key to ensuring Texas families have quality care close to home. A new justice center could be coming to Hutto, but first, voters will decide this fall whether to approve the funding for it. City leaders say the $42 million project would help address the needs of a growing community. KV's Brianna Perez breaks down the cost and why officials say it would improve public safety.
From the streets of Hutto to the halls of its police department, the city is growing and so are its needs.
One of the things that comes with that are the challenges when it comes to the traffic, the increased staffing and needs in the department when it comes to meeting the demands of a growing community.
For Police Chief Jeffrey Yarbrough, that growth has stretched the limits of its current station.
We've had to cut offices in half. We've had to move staff from one location to another. We've had to double up offices, and some offices we've have 3 individuals working out of a small, closed and confined space to meet the need.
Since 2002, this former City Hall building has served as Hutto's police headquarters. Now a bond proposal heading to voters this fall could pave the way for a new Justice Center, located on Limmer Loop and County Road 132. This is where the proposed Justice Center could go. Officials say it's about 45,000 square feet and in a more accessible location for community members to stop by. Officials estimate the cost to be about $42 million for just the building itself. According to the city, if passed, the bond would result in an estimated tax increase of about $45 a year for a home with an appraised value of $100,000. Plans would call for a 2-story justice center that would consolidate Hutto police operations into one building. The facility would also include space for emergency management operations and a future dispatch center, replacing the city's current $1.3 million a year contract with Williamson County for dispatch services.
Our workout routine.
Ultimately, Yarbrough says it would improve efficiency and help the department better serve the community.
Getting it into another location will provide some ease of access and ease of response time for our officers when they're moving from the police department to calls for service in our community.
If approved, the Justice Center could open by 2029. But before voters decide, the department is opening its doors to the community next week to answer questions and gather feedback. In Hutto, Brianna Perez, KVUE News.
The trails around Lady Bird Lake are seeing some closures this week. The city is blocking off a popular part of the Butler Hike and Bike Trail to perform necessary tree work. This impacts the pedestrian bridge over Barton Creek and the trail along the creek's eastern side until it meets the lake. There are signs showing the closed area in red, the detour to nearby streets in yellow, and the open areas in green. And that'll do it from us here in Austin. We hope you have a great day.
Hi, I'm Nayeli Carrillo, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. A Nacogdoches community is mourning the loss of a young life. Over the weekend, family, friends, classmates, and teachers gathered to honor 5th grader Redarian Davis, who died after he was shot on the 4th of July. CBS 19's Blake Neubauer reports.
Candles, pictures, and heartfelt prayers filled the grounds of Emmeline Carpenter Elementary. Students, teachers, and families gathered to remember 12-year-old Redarian Davis. The 5th grader's death has left a hole in the hearts of those who knew him, but Sunday evening was about celebrating the joy he brought to others while making sure his family knows that they are not alone in grieving.
If I would have known that I wasn't going to see him again, I definitely would have told him how much I loved him.
Former 3rd grade teacher Kalaya Jones says Redarian was the kind of student who never forgot the people who cared about him. Even after leaving her classroom, he would stop by to visit, knowing he always had someone in his corner. Outside of the classroom, Redarian loved sports, playing football and basketball while earning the respect of teammates and coaches alike.
He was an outstanding athlete, a good friend to his teammates, and he was definitely a team player.
As the community mourns, many say the vigil also serves as a reminder of the growing impact of gun violence and the importance of standing together during unimaginable loss. Organizations like the Boys and Girls Club of Deep East Texas say their work doesn't stop when the vigil ends. They'll continue supporting Redarian's sisters, classmates, and everyone affected by his passing.
We are here to support you. We're part of the community. We're not separate. We're part of the community, and we're here to do this with you. You're not alone.
A stomach bug that can linger for weeks is now showing up in East Texas. Health officials say there are at least 5 reported cases of cyclospora across 3 counties. CBS 19's Jesus Martinez explains what you need to know and how to protect yourself.
It's basically going to be the really bad cases of diarrhea.
And now cases are being reported across East Texas.
We encourage people, wash your hands.
The Northeast Texas Public Health District says 5 cases have been reported since June. 1 case was reported in Smith County and another case in Henderson County in June.
We don't have a lot of cases, but it seems like the cases nationally are starting to trend upward.
So far this month, Net Health says 2 cases have been reported in Gregg County and another in Smith County. Cyclospora is most often linked to foods many of us eat every single day.
And basically, cyclospora is a parasite that's caused by infected feces that gets into food or water. And typically, it's foods such as leafy greens and lettuce, raspberries, basil, cilantro, sometimes snow peas.
And symptoms may not show up right away, sometimes making it difficult to pinpoint exactly when or where someone was exposed.
Okay, well, what did I eat, 2 weeks ago that caused me to get that?
Health officials say the infection is usually not spread from person to person, and to lower your risk, health experts say the best protection starts in the kitchen.
Before you're dealing with your fruits and vegetables, wash your hands good, and then wash the fruits or vegetables. Secondly, and the third thing, after you do all that, wash your hands again.
Your doctors can also prescribe antibiotics to treat the infection.
If you have a case of diarrhea and it's lasting what I consider, more than a day, you probably need to be seen by a provider pretty quickly.
And Tyler, I'm Jesus Martinez.
That's a wrap of your East Texas headlines. I'm Nayeli Carrillo.
Here's your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Armstrong. 2 men died in Orange over the weekend after a police pursuit that began in Sulphur ended with their vehicle crashing into Adams Bayou Sunday morning. According to Orange police, officers in Sulphur started chasing a black Mercedes on I-10. They say the driver exited the interstate after crossing the state line. Police say that they then tried to take the Adams Bayou turnaround. However, they were going too fast. Sulphur police say that a tire failed, causing the Mercedes to crash through the guardrail and into the bayou. Officers say they weren't able to access the car and they didn't see anyone get out of it. Once it was pulled from the bayou, though, they found the 2 men dead inside. Investigators are working to identify them and notify the next of kin. The body of a swimmer who had been missing since Friday night was recovered Sunday morning in Newton County. Sheriff Colton Havard telling 12 News that the body of 18-year-old Jordan Allen from DeRidder, Louisiana, he was found in the Sabine River. He says that crews from Newton County, Louisiana, and Texas Park and Wildlife, they were involved in the search. Among others, despite the outcome, the sheriff says that he's grateful for everyone who helped find the missing teen's body. Also in Tyler County, several departments responded to a fire early Sunday morning at the Old Warren Junior High School. Now, according to Tyler County Emergency Management, crews, they battled the massive fire for hours, but they were able to save the Little Dribblers gym. Departments in Fred, Ivanhoe, Spurger, and Woodville, they all helped Warren crews. And by noon, the Shady Grove VFD, they were called in to provide fresh manpower. Officials asking neighbors to not drive around the school because it's not safe. And the Port Arthur Police Department hosted a fundraiser Saturday for former police chief Mark Blanton in his battle against cancer, selling link plates at the Walmart on Memorial Boulevard. Blanton, who served for over 40 years, he retired about a decade ago, he told us that he has good days and bad, but the support from former coworkers, colleagues, and friends, it gives him the strength to keep fighting. All proceeds went directly toward his medical needs. A new federal grant is giving Port Arthur hope that one of its most historic landmarks could finally see new life. But after years of watching Hotel Sabine sit empty, some residents, they are still not convinced that it's going to happen. Residents are hopeful about the $2.4 million grant, but after decades of watching the hotel sit vacant, residents say they believe the revival when they see it. 12 News reporter Daniela Tapuada-Palau, she has more on what this grant means.
It seems like every project that goes on in the city of Port Arthur, the money runs short, the time goes over, and nothing gets completed.
Kent Clement has called Port Arthur home since 2008. When he arrived, downtown was already far away from its glory days.
You could tell by the buildings and the architect that, the downtown area was really nice. And then obviously you could see that it fell into disrepair.
A sharp contrast to what Hotel Sabine represented when it opened in 1929, according to the city. And with the new $2.4 million cleanup grant, the city hopes to bring the landmark back to life.
She has just been a favorite landmark, and that's why we are just so excited to be able to begin this first step in getting her cleaned up.
The city says the money will only be used to remove hazardous materials, including lead and asbestos, hoping that once the building is safe, a developer will step in to restore it.
If somebody could utilize it, I think it would be great for the city.
And for many residents, the goal isn't just to save a building, it's to preserve a piece of Port Arthur's history. 12 News reached out to Councilman Taylor Getwood in District 1 about the council's plans after cleanup. He told us there's no plan yet, but his ultimate vision for the property is to restore its original purpose, benefiting tourists and residents in the long run. A vision Clement hopes becomes reality.
I really think that they spend the money wisely and do what they're supposed to do. I think that, it could revitalize the downtown area.
Right now, the city says there's no set timeline for when the cleanup will start, but they are in the process of submitting more paperwork to the federal government. And those were the headlines here from Southeast Texas.